Alright, yeah, it's another engine night here, and it's right now it's just me and Mike. Say there, buddy. And we got the old Brownwall up here. I don't know if some of you guys might remember this because I showed it to us probably almost a year ago, Mike.
Yeah.
And we had a problem. Is this the piston, Mike? Hold that up so I can get it. Tilt it down a little bit. I don't know if you guys remember, but there you go. Yeah, perfect, Mike, right there. But it had a big crack right here. And me and Mike have been looking for a piston. And when we're up in Cool Springs, we found something similar. We didn't even have tape measure or anything to measure it. We just looked at it, and Mike says that looks like something that might work. And put them side by side, and there is a little bit of difference. I mean, the height's the same, and the diameter, they're both 3.5 inches. But
well, this one's slightly over 3.5 actually. So, well, we'll have to.
Right. That's what we're going to take this apart and see if it fits. It's funny, the top. Even Mike said he's never seen anything like this. The top is like 3.5, and what'd you say the bottom was, Mike?
Well, the skirt's like 3.55.
Yeah.
So it's, and you know, it's not, that's actually not all that uncommon, but
right.
You know, you just extra clearance for the rings.
But put it sideways, and here's another major difference. You know, the diameter of these aren't different because this one actually has a bushing. But if you see it, is the tops lined up, Mike?
Yeah.
Okay. We might not have enough room, you know, because this has a little more meat going to the top. And there's other ways. There's certain ways of fixing that. You can, if you have enough meat on top of that piston, you can actually shave that down and actually get rid of one ring and just run on 2 rings. But we don't know. We got to see. So what we're going to do tonight is take this apart. It should be all clean inside here, Mike.
Yeah,
because somebody painted it.
A little buffing up. It's got some surface thrust in there now.
Yeah. But, so we're going to see if the piston will work and see if there's enough clearance. You know, you never know. I mean, this doesn't have valves in the head; they're off to the side. So.
Right. The problem that we may run into is that the finished cylinder bore might only go so far. Chances are it's not a finished cylinder right up to the head. It's probably a cylinder, and then there's probably a relief up at the very top.
Right.
When they were boring it so their tool could clear.
Right.
The thing is, we're going to take these rings off here first, because what we don't want to do is send the piston up the bore and have one of the rings spring out in that relief area, because then we're never going to get the piston out without breaking something.
Right.
So.
Okay. So first thing we'll do, we'll take the rings out of that, and then we'll unbolt this head.
Right.
Actually, the head and the cylinder are all one piece.
Right.
So it's going to be a little tougher than your average hit and miss, but we can do it. I think we got all the parts, Mike. We'll put the connecting rod on and everything. All right, let's regroup. Let's get some stuff together, and then we'll get back to you guys. All right, Mike's ready to pull that off.
Oh, yeah. Got a leaf in there.
I was going to say that sounded good. Oh yeah. So okay, yeah, that is long, and it does look like a big relief in the bottom.
Yeah.
We got to measure it.
I'm gonna clean it before I
let's get some measuring sticks out.
All right.
All right, Mike cleaned that up with some WD-40 and a Scotch-Brite. It looks pretty good, Mike. You just cleaned it. That's the original piston, right?
Yeah, I just
see how that goes and how far it goes.
Yeah. Well, I just kind of want to see what the fit is. I don't think we ever had this in
no.
that way.
Oh, that's not bad.
No, it feels like a fine fit actually. So. All right. Well, let's. I'm gonna clean this other one up here. Take the rings off of it, and give it a little buffing, and see what that looks like. I'm pretty sure that's not gonna go in there. No. So, the head might, the crown where the rings are, but you see the step right here.
Yeah.
We'll get the caliper out and see what the difference is. It's only going to be maybe 4 or 5 thousandths difference. So
yeah, you never see that.
No, but you're going to know because it's not going to go in. So we have an option. We can either bore the cylinder out since it's got some pitting in it, or we can turn the piston down. But let's clean this up first.
Okay. We can always still fix that if we wanted to, but. I'd rather change the piston.
Yeah, I wouldn't hesitate about fixing that with brazing or silver soldering or whatever. You know, there's not enough stress in this thing to worry about
Right.
it failing catastrophically, I don't think.
Okay.
But it would just be more work, I think.
Right.
So,
All right, something to think about.
all right.
I think Mike is done cleaning. It's going to be a big test here.
Yeah.
Like we said, we knew the skirt's a little bigger, so
It is, but I think the
rings itself.
yeah, the rings will probably fit right in there, or where the rings would go. Yeah. Yeah.
You need a hammer?
Yeah, that's it. So, but yeah, so we're gonna have to figure out what we want to do.
Hey, will this fit in my mill or my lathe?
This should fit. Yeah, this should fit in your lathe. It's probably toward the maximum that we can do easily, but yeah,
Right.
it should without too much trouble.
Got a hole in the top?
Well, it's got a center here.
Okay.
We
There
can
you go.
clean that out, and then there's this inside diameter of the skirt is machined, so that's good. We can grip this with your
The inside.
with the 4-jaw chuck with the reverse jaws, and we can grip it like this, and then put a center in it, and then put the indicator on the skirt and get it true, and then we can turn the skirt down, whatever we need to fit. So we'll have to do a little bit of looking, a little bit of thinking about what we want our clearances to be, and turn it down.
Yeah, we got to see. We can check it with a ruler now, right? Just to see if it fits.
Well, we know we have about 8 inches of usable bore here before, like I said, there is that relief up at the top, which I don't know if you can see that, if you were able to see that or not.
Yeah, I think we can.
Yeah. Well, and two,
We can't see it if you tilt it that way.
in
There we
addition
go.
to the relief, you have the port. You see my finger down there?
Uh-huh.
Or no?
Yeah.
You see
yeah,
there?
yeah.
That's the port for the intake and the exhaust. So the rings can't pass that point. So, we
Okay.
know that's about 8. That's a little over 8 inches. So in reality, we have 8 inches of usable bore. So we're gonna have to figure out what the stroke is of the engine, and then the length of the connecting rod, and then our distance from the center of the wrist pin to the crown of the piston. You can see that this is a bit different. I forget by how much, but maybe about a ½ an inch difference
Yeah.
between the center line here and the
least,
center line
yeah.
here.
Yep.
So do we have another ½ inch of bore to use, or are we going to have to make offset bushings for this pin, or take the top of the piston? I don't think we can take the top of the piston off. It doesn't look like we
No?
have enough meat
No
back
room?
there.
Okay.
No. So that's not a possibility. So it's either we make offset, because that already has a bronze bushing, we can make them offset, or scrap this and fix this.
Okay.
So
All right, let me get some paper and some rulers and
all right.
see if we can even use it. All right, might clean the studs up and just put the crank on and wheel things up. And
Yeah, I want to put the connecting rod in here so it can be easier to find the stroke. And we can just measure where the connecting rod travel up against this surface here.
all right,
And once we know that, we know what the full travel is, then we can add that to the head of the new piston, the crown of the new piston. Add that together, and then we can measure from this surface here to the bottom of the bore and know what actually we have to work with.
all right.
So,
You know, before we even do that, I can tell you right now, it's going to be
Not
an
gonna work.
eighth off.
Is it? Yeah.
It's going to be enough off that we can't use it.
Yeah,
Oh well.
probably right.
Yeah. All right, Mike took all his measurements and everything, and I was wrong. We weren't off by an eighth. We were off by, Mike.
Like 10 thousandths. It's crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
But then we're discussing it, and we're looking at this engine, and it has 2 valves, right? It's supposed to, but one of them atmospheric.
Right, the intake's atmospheric, and this here is the guide for the exhaust. The exhaust valves then would stick out this hole right here.
Right.
So, what you came up with, which I wasn't even thinking about, and it's brilliant in its simplicity, is we know that we can't use this piston as it is. It's just a little bit too tall. What we'll do is add a spacer ring between this flange and this flange to bring this out, I don't know, 3/16 of an inch, let's just say. And then, so the cylinder will be an extra 3/16 out from the block, about there. And then we just compensate with the push rod for the exhaust. Maybe make a new push rod a little bit longer.
Okay.
That's really the only thing. that's the only piece that goes between the cylinder and the back end, aside from the piston and rod. The intake is atmospheric. The carb hangs down here. It's a hit and miss engine, so there's no throttle linkage or anything like that. Spark plug. It's a battery and coil ignition system, so there's no magneto linkage or anything like that to worry about. It's a really great solution to the problem. We're still going to have to machine the piston a little bit to reduce the diameter so it fits the bore, but we don't have to worry about shortening the piston. We don't have to worry about offset bushings.
Right.
We're going to have to make new bushings because this is what, a 5/8, 3/4 inch wrist pin bore.
Where's the wrist pin?
Well, this is the wrist pin.
Yeah, look how tiny it is. Stick it in there, Mike.
So, yeah, we're gonna have to make new bushings, which is not a problem.
No.
Or we even make the little bushings that
sleeve.
size.
I probably got a sleeve in there.
Right, and we'll see about that, and we're gonna be rolling.
All right, so that's good.
It's a good solution, and I wouldn't say that it's not damaging like the authenticity of the engine at all, because this is what you would do if this piston cracked back in
and then
1930.
If you ever stumbled on an original piston,
right,
then you could get rid of the spacer and
right, exactly.
And the push rod, and you're good to go.
That's another great point. There's no, we're not modifying anything that can't be reversed.
Right.
So
okay, so our next thing is getting that down in size.
Turn that piston down and making it fit the bore. What's it got, a crack in it?
No, I was thinking it's got that ledge on there. Would you just have to bring it down to that ledge or less?
Well, we might have to go a little less. We'll have to measure. We know that this area drops in the bore, but we don't know what the clearance is. The clearance might be a little bit too tight. So we might have to take the whole piston down. We might not. So what we have to do is measure the bore accurately and figure out what kind of wall clearance we need. So if it's 2.5 thousandths, 3 thousandths, or whatever for an iron piston and an iron bore. So
okay.
All right.
Well, what we got done. We figured out what we have to figure out. We know we can use the piston, and we know what we have to do to make this thing run. So now, what I can do so as not to get in the way of all the other stuff is I could probably paint this thing up, Mike, and get it all ready just to throw back together.
I don't think there's anything on the block that needs repaired.
No, everything seems tight.
I think we'll have to reshim the bearings a little bit.
Right.
Maybe take them apart and clean them, but that's we're gonna do that anyway. I don't think there's any other cracks or damage. What about the base is the fuel tank, right? So we're gonna have to clean that out somehow, or if you want to use a separate tank, it's up to you.
Yeah, well, we'll flashlight it and we'll figure out, see how bad it is.
Yep.
But that's good. At least we can do something. Christ, you probably get this running in a night, right?
Well, once we had it all cleaned up, we can put it together, I think, and get it running. Because there's not much to it.
All right. Well, that's what I'll do. I'll clean it up, paint it, and then we'll just go from there. That way we won't have to worry about that. And if we damage it, then we repaint it. No problem. I'm not going to try and take these flywheels off, Mike. They look like.
How are they held on there with the?
They got a gib key on this one side.
I can't even see what the heck's holding that.
I don't know. I don't see anything holding that one on.
I see remnants of a key.
Oh
in there.
yeah. That's what I mean.
Probably best to just leave
them alone.
If they come loose, then we'll deal with it. But
Yeah.
I
don't think so. All right. Well, that's where we're at. What do you say, Mike? Enough of this?
For this.
All right. See you guys later.